Welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. I'm your host, Dr. G, and I am so glad that you can keep our appointment. Tonight is going to be amazing. Let me tell you, grab yourself a pen and a paper because you're going to want to take notes. Tonight's guest, Empriestess Aminah L, will present Moorish Astrology. Empriestess Aminah L is a Moorish American intuitive and predictive astrologer who has studied the science since 2010 and has been an instructor since 2018. She absolutely loves what she does and knows she was born to do so, and I can attest to that. Additionally, Empriestess Aminah L provides psychic development and high priestess training. She says the stars write the script and tell the story. And once we align with the understanding of them, we become that much more productive while co-creating with them. Now, I want you to let somebody know that we are live today with Priestess Aminah L because they're not going to want to miss this. I want to present to some and introduce to others tonight's guest, Priestess Aminah L, who's going to present Moorish Astrology. Welcome.
Peace.
Office Hours with Dr. G. How are you? Okay, so we got a little music. We got to rock.
I'm just I'm
so excited about you being on this platform, and you know it.
Likewise.
Yes.
Likewise.
Listen, before we go any further, I've told you all in the audience, and I want you to in the chat, please click like, click share, please share, because this information is going to be about us, and I'm excited, because you're gonna be talking about some collective stuff. So oftentimes, when we talk about astrology, a lot of times we're just getting into the individual, and that's what you do, but you have such a broad perspective on astrology as it relates to us as a community of a nation that I am just over the moon excited about the fact that you are on this platform. I saw you excuse me a few weeks ago. I saw the rebroadcast of you being on another platform, and I was like, oh, she is speaking to me. And you were at the time excuse me, it was right after Mother's Day, and I was going through something, and when I heard you speaking on different signs, I think you were talking about we have is it the hidden enemies?
Yes.
The hidden enemies of each sign, and I had just gone through something that was right on point. And when you said what you said, I was like, I stuck my chest out and go, I'm good, because I'm where I should be and they're where they should be as far as So, but listen, tell us a little bit more before we get into Moorish astrology. Tell us about your journey into astrology, because of course there was probably a time in your life that you were not delving into astrology to the extent that you have come full circle now. So how did you come to be an astrologer?
Okay, well, I was always into the stars and the planets, astronomy, as a child growing up, and I always wanted to study them. And we used to go on field trips to the planetarium, and I just loved it. I loved it. And it was once I became, I'll say maybe 14, 15, then I started to understand that there was a psychological aspect to it. And ever since then, I just was like, wow, I started seeing it, in my family. And I really started asking, hey, do you, resonate with this? I would read certain things, like especially to my dad. I used to read his horoscope to him. And he'd be like, yeah, I am actually. But it wasn't until I became pregnant with my Aquarius child. He is my youngest. I had a hair salon at the time, and I just remember like hearing, spirit telling me like, you're supposed to be doing readings. You're supposed to be an astrologer. And at the time, my salon was thriving. So I'm like, what? Astrology? I love it, but I don't know how would I, like support myself doing that. And slowly but surely, it was just so many signs showing me that this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, it, you understand it, do it. But it wasn't really a demand, so to speak. So I just kind of was like, I'll see. But then, just standing up all the time on my feet and everything, it did kind of play its part. So I started, like, let's see, I put it out there, and a lot of people responded, and I started to do the readings, and they loved it. And so, yeah, that's pretty much, it's been, I haven't looked back since. And that was 2017. Yep, okay. 2017 is when I actually started reading others.
And full time.
Yeah, full time. Mm-hmm. I closed the hair salon down and everything, and just started doing readings.
Yeah, and I again, so many people though, a lot of us are sometimes in fields or professions that don't match who we are or or whatever mission we came, incarnated to accomplish, and we wonder why we're not fulfilled. And you and I, we were speaking. We spoke at length. You did an amazing reading of me, a few days ago, and I was just, it was so confirming about a lot of things. But a lot of people don't get the benefit of that because one, astrology has been vilified to an extent, when it comes to certain, when you think about religion and so forth, and they're linked to that's of the devil and so forth. But everybody, I'm sure, has taken a peek in the back of when we used to have newspapers.
Right.
In the funny section, in the funny, cartoon section, there was always, a horoscope. Now, horoscope and astrology, are they really, is that something, the name horoscope, is that something that was created to give a negative connotation to astrology? Because what you read for me was my natal chart.
Mm-hmm.
So where does horoscope come into play?
So a horoscope is where we are looking at where the cosmic planetary, like the transits, are at during that time. So there's certain cycles, things occur in cycles, like, full moon, new moon, and based on their relationship, just like the hand on the clock, that's where the horoscope comes from. The hora, or it's pretty much comes from hours. Horus and hours. Yes, you interchange the letters. And so when we're looking at these different relationships, just like when we're looking at a clock, we look at the hour hand is giving us something, and then the minute hand is giving us something, right? And so the hour hand is actually the sun. The minute hand, the faster one, is the moon. And so what a horoscope is you're pretty much seeing where that individual is currently at that point in time, whatever the current cycle that we are in, and how it is affecting that person, in that time, in that cycle. So
would it be more general though? Because, and I'm saying this because if you're reading it in the paper, every Pisces that reads it obviously may not have the exact same experience on that day or in that period of what you may be a monthly horoscope or different things given. So there's maybe the possibility that who's ever reading that for that particular sign may have those whatever it says may happen. And I will say this, and I don't know when it was, and my friend Sister Deborah is on the in the chat. there was one day, I don't know how many years ago it was, that I just decided out of the blue to get in my vehicle and travel from Delaware to North Carolina, where she is, to Greenville, Green, whatever. It's not Greenville. I know where she is. But anyway, to North Carolina. I'm in the middle of a Saturday because there was a conference going on, I believe, where she was in Greensboro. Thank you. And there was a conference going on. So I decided, like, sort of like snap decision. She said, well, okay, I'll get you a ticket. So I traveled from Delaware to North Carolina, like the middle of whatever that day was, to get there. Saw what I think was a UFO in the middle of, traveling, because I traveled about 7 hours, and came back, had a really good time, came back, and then happened to open up an astrology thing for the month of whatever that month was. And on the very date that I got in that car and decided, sort of off the cuff, I'm coming down there, but it said that I would take a spontaneous trip. And the date was the same date that I literally, like around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, started, traveling to North Carolina alone. And so it was, then looking back like a month or so later, and wasn't quite maybe a month, and that was the exact date that I did it. I didn't see it prior, but here was written already that someone, a Pisces, would maybe make a sort of a random trip on a spare of the moment, and that's exactly what I did. So in that sense, of course, I knew that whatever I did was divinely led, but I'm wondering how, how does that work? And with the masses, necessarily, if they don't know to look back or to look at a reading to say, okay, so maybe that's why that happened.
How would they look? How would they know, you said?
How would they know that some of the things that happen in their life are divinely or astrologically driven, as opposed to, like, I thought, it wasn't random. I thought I just spur of the moment did it, but I spur of the moment was supposed to do it spur of the moment as a part of, like, me being, that was what I was supposed to do.
Well, it's all divine. All of it is exactly what we signed up for, what we asked for, what we wanted to experience. So when we come here and we get, clouded by the murky ethers of the flesh, we can forget, it's not clear to us. But usually you are always going to be, like, say someone never had a reading, never, got their chart read, or never even looked at their chart for themselves. They still in some way are still going to align with what it is that they're supposed to do. Now, the vibration might not be as high, because there are high and low to every degree, a high and low to every planet. This is why we have 360 degrees, right? But there's also that 720, because you understand that every degree has 2. And so, you're always going to be in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing. It's just that, it would be good to get a reading and to have that awareness of yourself, because astrology is ruled by Aquarius, and Aquarius is also knowledge, right? So when you have that knowledge of yourself and of who you are on a cosmic level, then you truly understand, what it is that you're supposed to be doing and what it is that you actually signed up for. And like I said, you'll always be in alignment, but once you see the chart, you can say, wow, okay, let me, I love sweets. Like, for example, Venus in Cancer loves sweets, but they can also transmute that to the higher vibration, more fruit. So just an example, just like somebody might have a Mars in Scorpio. This very much so can be like a serial killer placement. But what is the higher vibration of that? And the higher vibration of that is, maybe a surgeon. This could be a brain surgeon, somebody who actually works on the body, or a psychologist, somebody who's going into the dark side of the psyche. So it's really just about, the vibration. But at the end of the day, you don't have to know the natal chart. You're always going to be led exactly where you belong. Mistakes, the beneficial stuff, all of that is a part of it. So the more you become familiar with it, then you know what's for you and what's not for you. And you understand that what is for you can never be taken. And what's not for you, it was never for you. You can accept it. It's a beauty of the acceptance of it. And I know that this is the key to true unity. This is the key to us, everybody don't have to be the same. We can actually honor who we are, energetically, cosmically. This is energy. So, to answer your question though, even if they never knew a chart, they're still going to kind of be, led. So that's why these horoscopes resonate and things like that, because these are cycles. This is geometry that we're working with, just like when we're looking at a clock. Even though the digital clock kind of takes that away from us, but when you're looking at a clock, right, it's geometry. You're looking at the proportion of where the hour hand is and where the minute hand is, and what are they communicating to each other. One is over here doing this and another is over here doing this. What are they saying? And when we can apply that to the individual chart, because it's all cycles, it's all, a particular area is going to apply to you. And then that's how we can pretty much read it. It's going to be something there, even in a general sense, that you're going to resonate with, because it's like a cycle. It's on a clock. We know that the sun is going to set at 7, and there's particular things that gets done at sunset, then it's already in alignment with what it is that, we're already in tune, because we know that the sun is going to set at this time every day. And when you understand the cycles and the patterns, everything just kind of fits like a puzzle. So, the natal chart is if we want to know, look at the natal chart. It's ruled by Aquarius, which is the sign of knowledge.
So you are a predictive astrologer. What does that mean? What does that entail?
Well, I predict things based on mathematical calculations, actual things that I see in the chart, because it is a language. And then I also, there's always going to be a right brain side of it, we could say, or an intuitive aspect to that, because what you're doing is you're looking at the natal chart and saying, okay, these particular configurations is saying this, right? Just like when we look at the time, let's just say the minute hand and the hour hand both are pointing up, right? We know that that's 12 o'clock. We know, right? And so when you already have that understanding, then it's kind of like you can pretty much just go off of that, go off of what it is that you're seeing in the chart. And it is a language. So,
So from a standpoint, tonight, more than individual, we were talking about, everybody's talking about what are we going to do? How are we going to come out of what we've been in for a long time? And that's where the Moorish astrology portion came, where I was fascinated with the fact that you could look at us as a nation going around the zodiac wheel. Mm-hmm. And I was fascinated. The thing that stuck, and you'll probably get there, maybe you'll use it, I don't even want to say it, but when you gave me that example about why some of the high-end celebrities and so forth don't do certain things for the community. So maybe you'll say that. So I don't want to, but I wanted to, the chart starts at Aries, am I right? Mm-hmm. And ends with Pisces. Mm-hmm. So how does, because we got folks, wanting more than ever, not just to know their sign, but to know, how do we as a collective become healed and whole using astrology?
Right. And I love that question, because in fact, like I was saying, we start with Aries. We all know that Aries is the beginning, right? It's the beginning of springtime. And so when we're talking about, the order. This is just the natural order, of things. When you understand nature, it's like you're just in tune. You just know what's going to occur. So with that being said, Chiron is in Aries. Now, what Chiron is known as the wounded healer, meaning it is the wound, but it's also the healing that we need. It's going to point to us what the issue is, but if you fix it and work at it, you take yourself out of all the misery or the problems that you're dealing with. Okay. And so with Chiron, and I know a lot of people look at it, oh, it's the wound, but it is the healing. And for the collective at this time, Chiron is in Aries. Okay. And that's the beautiful thing, because even though there's a lot of astrologers, but we need to understand who we are at that Aries level too, and the Aries is your bloodline. This is your identity. So with the Chiron being here is letting us know that for, the collective, our main issue for the most part, for the majority of us, is that we have identity issues. We have bloodline issues. Aries is the blood. We don't know our bloodlines, and we have issues with identity, how we identify ourselves, right? Once we have that knowledge of self, Aries is the self, then we can begin to really move on and begin to understand what belongs to us. And that's Taurus. Taurus is, our values, our resources, and what is important, like food, shelter, things like that. So when we have, when we know ourselves, then we can go into getting the resources, the finances, and the things that we need, the agriculture, what have you, so that we can move into Gemini, which is, the brainstorming and the meetings and the talking about this, the planning and all of that good stuff. That's Gemini. But what I've noticed is those of us, let's just say Moors, we have Aries. We know ourselves. We know we don't identify with, slave terms and things like that. We know who we are. That's Aries. But what I've noticed is we'll jump over Taurus and go straight to Gemini. And that's why we need the resources, collectively. We need to, but also understanding our values, understanding our worth, understanding what's important to us, understanding our aura. Taurus is the aura as well, and so I noticed we will jump over that and go straight to Gemini, and we're making plans. We having these meetings, and we meeting up and doing this and that, but then it really doesn't get anywhere. It becomes a fruitless pursuit. And the reason why is because we can't skip a sign or a step, right? And once we have, and usually the plans are what? Let's get land. Let's get some. That's Cancer. Cancer comes after Gemini. That's the land, the mother, the history, the culture, where we really can be grounded and rooted in what it is that we do. But the issue is, like the celebrities I was saying, now the ones who got the Taurus, the billionaires and the millionaires and the ones who really can be of benefit to their people, their own people, all they got is Taurus. And that's the issue. All they have is Taurus.
They have no Aries.
No Aries. So all they have is the Taurus. And so you come into this issue where we're dealing with a lot of our people. They might have the money, the resources, but they don't have themselves. And so that's what it is. And then you got the ones who have themselves, and they're kind of like beggars, poor righteous teachers. Oh, I don't need no money. Money is, money isn't everything. But the reality is it's the second sign. Money, resources, food, it doesn't have to be physical money. It could be food, things that we can trade that are of value, right? So once we go through the steps, then we have, the steps properly. Then we have Cancer, we have the land that cuts out our rent, our mortgage, or, what have you. And now we could truly experience that happiness, Leo. The entertainment, the children is Leo. The fun and all the hobbies, the recreational stuff are us expressing our talents and being our true creative selves, us being the light that we came here to be, the expressions of the heart. Leo is the heart. How many of us aren't really expressing our heart in the light of who we are, because we got, these cycles that we're stuck in. We don't have land. We don't have mama. The mama is the land. If you got that, then you can relax. You're not worried about these 30-day loops that you're on when it comes to your rent, your phone bill, or whatever 30-day loop you may be on. We are on, right? Until we get that land, then we can relax. But once we have that, we're expressing our light, our talents, then we move on to Virgo. Now we understand the work that we're doing, how we can contribute to one another on that land or within that, space. This is like, working the land, working the land, or working, within the community, within the environment. Virgo is our environment. Once we have that, then we can actually have that peace. The peace of, just being, which is Libra. Libra rules peace, is justice. It's also relationships. We can have a lot more thriving relationships now because we're actually going in order, regardless of what our sun sign is, moon, rising. Us as a people, this is the order. And so now that we have Libra, we go into Scorpio. Now we have that depth. Now Scorpio deals with, our treasury, our shared resources. Scorpio is also trust. Scorpio and Taurus work together. All of them really, the polarities, they work together. But once we have that and we really just work all the way around the wheel and not skip steps and jump over this one, and we have to go in order. And that's why I know this science, which is the Moorish science of Moorish sciences, is what we need. This is what our people need. So yes, go in order. To answer your question, you have to go in order.
So what? Yeah, I mean, so what goes beyond that? I'm fascinated.
Oh, okay. Beyond that, Sagittarius. Now we can actually make foreign alliances, with our people. Those in Jamaica territory, and these foreign, because Sagittarius deals with foreign travel, foreign expansion, or just expansion in general. So now we're talking imports and exports. So things that are coming in, we're in control of that. We're making trade agreements and things like that, with our other brothers and sisters that are across the waters. That would be Sagittarius. Capricorn is now we have better ability to become industrious. That's our industries, is that Capricorn energy. Capricorn rules, the elders, business, building. How do we build? We begin to build when we have those, the 1 through 9. And so, Capricorn is that builder. And that's what we continue, we can continue to build when we have that understanding. And astrology would be Aquarius, or just the community as a whole. Now we can continue to give back to our communities. Our communities are growing now. Now we're seeing a prosperous, future. Now we're making plans according to all the other steps that we've, set in place. Future plans is Aquarius. Right. And then Pisces, this is, where we are understanding source, where we're understanding metaphysics and all the quantum parts about us, the other side, our dreams. What are our dreams telling us? Divination, like everything. We can't leave nothing out. We can't be afraid to, oh no, I don't mess with the Scorpio stuff, because that stuff is, the dark side and the, all these things. This is a part of the wheel, so. As we go around, and it's the same with having land. When you have land, you want to have this same structure. Can't leave nothing out. Aries, you want to have some sort of military or some guns to protect it. You know what I'm saying? Taurus, you want to be growing food. Gemini, you want to have your department or your area on your land where you guys read. Where are the books held? What's the literature of this community? What is the education of this community? Then Taurus, Cancer. This is your doulas and your midwives and, people, the mothers, the women who are bringing the new souls in. And then Leo, we got to have recreation. Where's the fun stuff on this land? The swimming pools, the volleyball courts, that's Leo. And then Virgo, this is our health house, our healing house. We go here and get all our herbs and all our sacred plants that we need. That's Virgo. Libra, this is our justice system, where we can, deal with disputes, because really and truly, it's all about contract. Libra rules contracts. If we have a contract, and you don't fulfill your duty or your obligation to that contract, we have to have a system on our land, somebody who can oversee, a judge, and say, yeah, you were wrong, or vice versa. So we need that within our own land. And then like I was saying, Scorpio, that's our treasury, how we deal with the dead. Do we bury them? Do we burn them? That's all of these things you need to know and have. Even if you buy land, we have to have this science. You can't just, oh yeah, I have some land, but you don't have the healing house because you don't understand Virgo, or you don't have the midwives or the women because you don't understand the Cancer part, or you just bought some land. What about everything that's needed for that land, for that community? Okay, so yeah.
But that is, so it almost seems to me that almost every aspect is like wheels within wheels, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
yes.
has, because even if you have the healing house on the land, then that healing house or whatever education or erudition centers, they would have to have their steps. And so I can see now, the importance, and I hope you all who are listening can see how important these steps are in every aspect of what we do. And that's where they took, and I don't, who's they, but that's what was stripped away from us as a common practice or way of life. What I'd like to say, not even a practice, a way of life. I'm pretty sure that our ancestors had that knowledge because wise men look to the stars, not just to be stargazers, but to see the signs and to be predictive and intuitive as to what has happened, what will happen, because everything is cyclical, and so they learned these things. They looked at those aspects to make decisions of pairing up, to chill out the daughter of this family and the son of that one, was it going to work for the, and I'm not sure, but it almost seems like we ought to have a chart that every board should have a chart of the, not just the sign saying, Aquarius, saying Aries to Pisces, but saying what, like you are so eloquently have explained, we need you to write a book.
I'm working on it. I'm working on that right now.
Yeah, because really, from a standpoint of what needs to be done from an astrology, I don't care whether you call yourself a Moor or not. I mean, you, like you said, whether you read the astrology chart, horoscopes or what, doesn't mean you're not affected by what's happening, in the cosmology of things. And if we realized how important this was to just the success of life, individually, familiar, and community as a whole, I'm we would be so much further, and people wouldn't keep asking, what do we do now? What do we do now? Because those are, you just pointed out the steps. So, and I talk to so many
people. Your identity first.
You talk to folks that have a step. Like I always say, a piece of the pie, but it is a pie, sort of. It's a wheel.
Yep.
And there are so many folks that have their piece, but that doesn't, take away the fact that we should be lockstep starting from A to Z, or in this case, A to P. Aries to Pisces. We have to start there, move to the next, and we got that. That okay, now we are satisfied that we have secured that aspect, our Aries. Now we can move to our Taurus and our Gemini, or we can do that if we know what it is and how important it is. So, what about the children? I just think that the children, maybe they're our best hope, if you will.
Oh yes. Yeah, I was just saying that I'm ready to teach astrology to the children. Adults, they need it. The children is the ones.
And they will probably just eat it up like really quick, because like a lot of us are what they call the old dogs that can't learn new tricks, so to speak.
Right.
We're kind of set in our ways, and we don't. Not that we don't want to learn, but I think something turns off after a certain amount of time, because they say that first 7 years. I don't know what state is it, Delta, Theta. There's a state that
Mm-hmm.
we're a sponge,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm where, way past being SpongeBob, to absorb things. I mean, we get things, but not like we would do in the first, 1 to 6 or 7 years of our life. So getting them early would be
Mm-hmm.
important,
Yeah.
and teaching them. And I I suggest, I was like, use the platform, teach the children.
Yes.
The songs. What's that song that says, "I believe the children are future." Teach them well, and what, let them lead the way.
Yes. The
And we
children
have,
are the future. That's Leo Aquarius. Leo is children. Aquarius is the future. The children
okay,
are the future. And I
right,
think though, honestly, though, like I was saying with the Aries, it really doesn't matter how old you are, I guess. If you have Aries, you know yourself. You know that you're more, your bloodline. Aries is the blood. You have that awareness of self, Aries. I don't see why it should be any reason to move on to Taurus, to your values and to the money. Like I'm just saying, I don't make the rules. That's what it is. Once you know yourself, get to the resources.
resources,
Get
yes.
to the resources because now we can have meetings and talk and it can actually go somewhere. Gemini, so
Mm.
I feel if you are 70 years old and you're a Moor, you know who you are, of your Moorish culture, I don't see, why would you have an issue moving on? So there's really, I feel like there is not even an excuse when it comes to the age because you know that you're a Moor, but you don't want to go around the rest of the wheel. What's going on? That's the head is, that's why we have our turbans. The original turban is red. That's
Hmm.
Aries. Aries rules the color red. It's a signification that I know myself. The crown on your head. Just
Hmm.
like when the men wear their fezzes, these are what? Red.
Red. Mhm.
Aries.
Right.
What would be the issue when, and then what? We talk about our values: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Values is Taurus, but it's also the money. Why would we have an issue? Get into that. So
And I
yeah.
think it's important to note, what, just for clarity, because I know exactly what you're saying, but so that it's clear to those who might say, well, I'm a Gemini. We're not talking about an individual sign. We're talking about signs that denote cycles of the collective
Yes, yes.
consciousness,
This is something
right?
we all got to go through. I don't care what your sign is. You got to have protect. Think about it just for yourself. You got to have some sort of protection, right? You got to make sure your body, your well-being, your energy is also Aries. Your overall energy feels good to be able to go out and enforce yourself, right? So that's Aries. The average man probably have a gun, a weapon to protect his home, his household, his family. That's Aries. Our identity. You got to know who you are, though. Who you are is really all you got. You got to know that. You don't know that, yeah, you don't have the rest of the wheel. Taurus is our halves. So, got to have you first, self.
So the steps, to me, is plain when you put it the way you've put it. It makes sense, because so many folks want to put, as the we used to say, or the older people, folk older than me, but it makes sense. They want to put the cart before the horse,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and it with the, if I'm the horse and the cart's in front of me, I'm like, you don't need me,
Mm-hmm.
just, so you're not going to get anywhere. And that's why we don't get anywhere, because we don't follow the steps, but probably maybe because we are not aware of the steps, and
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be taken. And like I said, so many folks are at different aspects of the wheel, but how do we move this progression collectively, is the
Right.
question. Um, how do we deal with, the aspects of what we're hearing, say, with regard to resets and,
Mm-hmm.
reparations versus
Mm-hmm.
restoration? We know that the moment we accept reparations, then we've
Mm-hmm.
we've canceled out the fact that we are the indigenous and people of the land. That we are the
Yeah.
ones. We don't need reparations. We need restoration. We need to be restored to our original, greatness. But are we to wait for someone else to do it, or as we collectively now, many of us, you said, know who we are, so we do need to get to that next step. So what
Mhm.
does that look like? What Yeah, what does Taurus look like for us? What would be a typical Taurian move for the collective?
Mhm. Great question, because the planet of the collective, which is Uranus, is in Taurus. So it would definitely take, I would say, like some community resources, not like a susu, but something where we can have that trust with each other, and where we have a pot or some sort of thing where we can collect the dues, or the I don't want to say dues, but where we can collect certain fiat from each one, so that we could collectively put it together for a goal, a common goal. So it really does start with trust. I think that's what it is as well. But I think once we can start to see each other's charts and understand the energy that we are looking at, I think that takes that, I don't know if this or that. You can see a person's nature in the chart. Truly, you can see it. And so that's why I said, once we get this science down, I think that's what it is. Because like I said, the collective energy is Taurus. I mean, I'm Uranus, but it's also astrology. It's in Taurus. So it's kind of giving us still that opportunity to say the money is the knowledge right now. The money is
The,
the
the
knowledge.
wealth, the wealth is the knowledge
The
of
wealth.
self.
The
The
wealth.
wealth,
Yes.
yeah. So because fiat, as we know it, we know it's pretty much done away with. It's still floating around here, but on a global level, it's done. They're looking at other
Mm-hmm.
things. So we can't measure our wealth or resources by that. What would be an alternative source of wealth and resource? You said knowledge, but I can't necessarily, until I get the land, or we get individually get the land. You couldn't pay, or not pay. You couldn't compensate for or cover the whatever the cost is, if you will, for being having a domicile based on knowledge alone. And that's,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being, I'm
No, true. I get you. I get you. But the thing is this, let's say you're working a job and you don't really like that job, and you're trying to make more money. You need to look at your chart. What are you good at? You probably are. Of course, you're already going to know and have an idea, but maybe looking at this chart will say, it was there all along. I should have been doing that a long time ago instead of working here. I should have been building myself up with that. And now you can get the resources that you need in a better way, because you understand who you are. You have knowledge of your energy in a different way, to where that can be expressed. But I will say this, going to the moon, the moon deals with the nation. The moon also rules silver. So we could start getting silver, and we could create a treasury. Once you have a treasury that's backed by silver, gold,
that no many precious
right. When
yeah.
you're at that point, your money can be, whatever you want it to be for that particular, economy, or that particular, community. Your money, your medium of exchange can be whatever you want it to be, because you guys have the silver and the gold backing it up in the treasury. So yeah,
Yeah,
it would be a matter of
that makes
turning.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense because believe we know now that we're using somebody else's private commercial paper that is not backed by anything, that they printed out of thin air, and we accept it as legal tender. It's not legal tender. They're debt notes,
Mhm.
and they have the potential to shrink their value, even though it may look like it's the same size. It's worth less and less, to the extent that what you used to get, 2 years ago, now you'd have to have 3 or 4 times what you paid then. Now,
Mhm.
so yes, what is stopping us? I mean, what is stopping us from saying enough is enough? We're not really benefiting from these colonizers. They were supposed to be performing a service as a service corporation. So they were supposed to serve us.
Mm-hmm.
They no longer serve us. They want to serve us, like on a
Mm-hmm.
platter, instead of serving us as was the original, as it is my understanding, the agreement that why we have service corporations at all. We had a service corp. They were coming here to do certain things, and we the people. I should have put my other shirt on because it said we the people are pissed off because we're not, we're not getting we're not getting the service
Mm-hmm.
that was originally contracted for. So what is stopping us from saying, okay, we'll do that's okay. We're going to take over. We'll do our own. We'll do our own thing. We've got enough resources and knowledge and so forth. We don't need when if we had a contractor that we hired to do a job. Well, you can break contracts. You may have to spend a little bit, to break a contract, but we could break a contract and say, no, we're going to get another company, and the company would be our own company, would be us in this case. What's stopping us from saying we no longer need your service, and in a business manner? I'm not talking about we're going to just kick you off with at the edge of a bayonet and things that they came in with on swords. I'm saying your services are no longer needed. We got this.
Mm-hmm. Truly, was keeping us, I would say, fear and our lack of trust to one another. That's it. Fear and just us not being able to trust, because there are some, Moors, I would say, in the community that are doing financially all right. But then again, it's like there needs to be something where there could be some sort of land. We got to stop. Like when you say, getting out of that, we don't need your services anymore. We got to really be ready to not want their services anymore, and I mean, really
not need them.
Scratch.
Right.
Buy some land or get some land, acquire some land, and be willing to live on the tent for a little bit. Be willing to live in the tent on your land. Right. See, all the, we get comfortable, like, I don't want to do that. I'm not really. Well, then the cycle is going to continue. It's the fear. Survival skills is Aries. Going back to Aries, you got to have some survival skills. Like truly, or some survival tools, equipment, so when we can get, I would say, getting out of fear of our true power, our true selves. We could, make it out in the wilderness. Not saying that it got to be that, primal, but, it might have to be. Yeah, and that's probably what's keeping living in a tent. I'm sure some people probably thought that when I said it. A tent. I don't know about that, but it's yours. It's your land. You ain't got no rent. You ain't on the 30-day loop no more.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's fear. Because land, I mean, truly, you could get some land, even if you purchased it right now, really, really slow, like $200 a month. I'm sure that's really, that's cheap compared to a lot of people. That's not as expensive, I should say, as compared to a lot of people's mortgage or rent. So, it's just fear. And that Aries energy, the survival skills. We need to be doing some sort of training, some martial arts. Aries, that's Aries is martial arts. Aries is also just combat training. Any type of like self-defense and stuff like that. That goes as without to the within as well. You're getting that combat training. You're gaining that confidence. You're getting on the outside. You're also gaining that on the inside. You probably know how to like physically, more trained at, combat with another, sparring or whatever, but within you're a trained fighter too. So it's like the survival, that survival thing, that's what it is. If we can really get out of that and start really showing we got this, then that's where it happens. And honestly, it may even have to take some sort of like major tragedy to occur.
Like they keep talking about the grid, yeah, maybe the grid needs to go down. So it was like, you can't turn on Netflix, you can't turn. No, you got to turn to yourself. You got to turn
all of
to
our conveniences.
Yeah.
Choose your Uranus. That's what it's about. Choose your Uranus. Are you going to go with the digital? Like you said, the Netflix and all the comforts and the conveniences that technology has given us? Or are you going to choose your own divine technology and strengthen that and cultivate that and further enhance that? Because all the technology really is just a bootleg version of who we are and what we can do.
Come on now.
Like I was just talking about that earlier, like the etymology of the mouse for your computer is muscle. It's muscle. Our veins, our arteries, our nerves, those are your wires. Your fingerprints, your footprints. That's where the printer, the idea of what a printer connects to or come from. What the eyeballs can do, telepathy. They took the ability for us to telepathize one another and made it into a phone. We are the technology, which is Uranus. So you choose. We have to choose. It's all about choices. Choose your Uranus. You're going to choose, to become this transhuman, cyber, whatever. And, and not to, say it like that, because technology does have its advantages and, things that it has benefited us in ways, but we have to understand what the difference, truly the difference, and really put them in their proper place where they belong. So yeah, it's about choosing your Uranus and letting go of that fear. Get some sort of, start camping. It's the summertime. Maybe we can, start helping ourselves cultivate that now. Start camping. Get used to maybe sleeping in your backyard, just for starters. Something has to start gradually, and so, yeah, we can't, I don't think we just got to let go of the fear and really become self-sufficient and understand what that's about. So,
yeah, I think, and I don't know if you agree with me, but I think that we have been so brainwashed by, the educational system, the so-called entertainment, because we didn't realize that entertainment and entrainment are the same thing. So when you learn about entrainment, they're talking about things that train the brain, certain ways and subliminally. And I believe that the entertainment business, we have been, the target of that. And when I say we, I mean everyone who is influenced by entertainment have really been entrained to think and feel and believe a certain way. And all of those things, like you said, we feel like we're the minority because they told us, or we think like there more of them than there are of us. There's, they have the ability to, like, they brought us in, they could take us out, but they didn't bring us in. Well, our mothers brought us in, the divine, we willed ourselves. We said, look, I'm going, put me in, coach. And we came in again, back and forth and back and forth. This isn't our first rodeo for many of us. And we just don't remember. We don't remember how many times we've won. We remember that at the end of each of our existences, we've made a decision to get back in the game again. But can we do that in the conscious arena? Can we be conscious of our victories to the extent that we go bravely into, into whatever needs to be done collectively to bring ourselves to a place of like you said, I ain't worrying about a thing. Which sign was that? Was it Libra? Somebody up there, Leo, somewhere. It was a fun one up there.
Oh, Leo, yeah. Leo.
We can get to Leo. What are we trying to get to? Leo. No, we're not talking about the sign.
Pisces. We're trying to complete the wheel to Pisces. But yeah, the fun stuff too.
Yeah. The fun stuff. We want to get the fun stuff out of the way. And I am just like I had a call the other day from a brother who told me, I don't even know, he may be listening today. If not, I don't know who he was, but he was like, he must have just found us, because he would say, you and that other man. So everybody knows that man is Christy Tastari Bay. So he was new, but he's like, you all know. He said, you know what it is that we need to do. And you have full of knowledge, but you're not telling us what you know. But we know that you know, but you're not telling us what you know. I'm like, kind of, and I felt like I was in like somebody was punking me, because he kept insisting that I know that and he said he was a young man in his 20s. I'm saying, well, if we've inspired you to think that we know everything, then you can use what you know to go forward. He's like, no, I can't put myself out in the public like that. They'll eat me up. Well, what are you trying to do? Throw me to the lions? Then I'm already in the den. That's how you found out about us. So we've got to get to the place where it's not our one strength alone. We're not alone.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We have to work together. And like you said, we have to develop the trust.
Yes.
You know, and so many of us. And the other thing is, what about all the ones that don't know they're Moors, or they don't know they're Aboriginal Indigenous people, that they're not Negro black colored, or they didn't come here on sardine slave ships? How do you deal with the majority of us don't know who we are, because that's Aries. How do we get them so that we make this a bigger collective that's working together? How do we let them know that they're in prison, but the bars are just further out and so far that they can't see them, but there's a limit to how far they can go until they find who they are?
Well, first it would start in our homes. Start there. The ones who we know personally, but who don't, they like more. What, really just start giving them more, light, and really start engaging and pouring more into them, because that's where it really is going to start. And because they know you, and I know not all of us are, close with our family and stuff like that, but it really does have to start within the environment. There's so many people already, like right now, who's, still telling, we're not black, and, they're posting, they're doing all the, they're doing that work for the ones who don't know. I still see it now. Like a lot of people, we're not black, stop calling yourselves black. And, they're really on that. And it's like, they're continuing to plant those seeds for, I guess we can say, our online community, right? So we have plenty of, I would say, ones who are doing that. But as far as us personally, so continue to do that if that's what you're doing, but also try to really put it into your family. Start breaking those, because it's healing. It's all about the healing. Chiron, like I was saying, the wounded healer in Aries. So when we can really talk to our families about this, really start inviting them to more things like this, seminars, YouTube, conversations, classes, really start being more engaging with them. Because I notice for those of us, and that's just an Aquarian thing, the water bearer, the story of the water bearer, where, the water bearer detaches from the tribe to go and seek water. And that's where the whole vase and the actual water comes from. But the thing is, he goes out, which the water representing truth. He go and get that water and take it back to his tribe, and give them that truth, quench them, pour that energy, that knowledge back into them, and that is the whole energy of the water bearer, the Aquarian energy, which is the age that we are in. And I notice just in this community, a very common thing is we have our awakening, we have our upgrade, right? Just like a phone. Some phones get upgraded before others. And that's Uranus. That's the technological, aspect of it. And it's the same for us. Some of us get our upgrade before others. And usually when that happens, we feel different. We feel like the outcast. We feel like the black sheep, and we want to leave. We want to Oh no, let me go and find my tribe. Let me go and find my people who think like me, right? Aquarius is your friends, your group, your those who, yeah, just your friends, those who are on the same intellectual path as you, that you guys share an intellectual affinity of some kind, right? But the thing is when we understand the water bearer story, the water bearer took that water back to their family. He took the water back to the tribe. He didn't take it to the ones who got water. He went back and took it to the tribe. So yeah, you guys, look into the water bearer story. We're in the age of Aquarius now. So look into that story. And remember, we were talking about the follow the house that he enters. Follow the house that he enters. And it's beautiful because I was just thinking about that scripture that we were talking about, and this in your chart. This is that, like a house for that, and the fact that you called it that too, the house of reawakening minds, yeah. And so it's like this is like an Aquarian hub that ones can come to and learn and go take it back to their family. So to answer your question, there's a lot of, Moors out there who are, posting the Black law definition, stuff that we've been knew. We've been knew the Black is this and the Negro is that, and the, colored means that. We've been aware of these things. So it's like the ones who first wake up, they be the ones who really be, promoting that and doing that work. And so it's like for those of us who have a more elevated understanding, I guess, it's time to start taking it to our families. That's what this past full moon in Sag was about as well. Jupiter is the ruler of Sag, which was our most recent full moon, and it's in Taurus. Jupiter is in Taurus, which collectively speaking is the fourth house of the collective, the family. The fourth house is our family. So it's like this journey, somebody who's been on a journey. Sagittarius is, long distance travel. So it's like the journey. It rules the journey. Those of us have been on this knowledge journey. It's time to bring it on home, pour it back into the tribe, the bloodline. Nothing is wrong with, the networks and the connections that we've made. But I feel that we truly have to penetrate and get to the hearts and minds of our blood. We can't just say, oh, forget them. I know what I know. I'm the weirdo anyway. I'm out of here. No, I'm the black sheep anyway. I'm out of here. Bring that to the family. That's where it starts. Because when you think about Mars is in Leo right now, and it deals with the bloodline, right? We're talking about royal blood. Leo is royalty, Mars is the blood. So the royal blood, if you are of royal blood, wouldn't that mean your blood family is of royal blood too? As above, so below. But we have to remember they're sick. They're in the sunken place, or they're in the, this dark space where there's no light. And we have to be that source for them. We have to be that light for them. And the reality is, they might not always see. I was reading something. It said, when the light is very close to you, you don't see it. You can't see it because it's too close, And so it's really about just bringing what it is that you've been doing, and maybe even start, like I said, inviting them to these retreats and all these things that we do that we leave them out of. We leave our blood family out of because, of course, they may judge, or they might not understand, or they reject. But we have to keep being that light by being ourselves. Yeah. We have to be that example. So,
yeah, we're talking about that because I was telling you, I have a lot of folks from my past that they're still so-called fake friends, maybe on social media. You don't hear much from them, but they may see things, just like you see their things pop up, your things pop up, and they can't unsee what they've seen. They can't unhear what they've heard. So it's still in a way,
I love it.
or watering seeds that have already been planted, where it says one plants, another waters, but Most High gives the increase. So you're not,
Yes.
you don't know where you are in that cycle, but you keep doing what you're doing. And if for some, it will bear fruit. That's what I'm going to say. Because that's what it basically means, bearing fruit. But I think our greatest issue is the first one that you mentioned, is that of fear. And fear is paralyzing. Although we know it's false, they say all kinds of things. It means false expectations, appearing real, and false something else. I mean, it's just not truth. The things that you are, they say we have nothing to fear but fear itself. So fear is a construct that has been created to paralyze you, to stop you from doing what you came here to do. Remember, Kyle, it says, remember who you are.
Yes.
Superman, Superwoman, remember who you are and what you, like I said, remembering our past. And that's why I think, like I said, it is reawakening minds. It means minds that were awake at some point, maybe not in this incarnation, but at some point along, the journey of life, and can we draw on that in this lifetime? And like you said, get to Pisces together.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't think every family member is going to awaken.
No.
You can't take them all, you can't, everybody can go. But I will say though, if you are who you say you are, and you know what you know, and you are being what you know, and they're seeing the benefits of it, that's why I say it's an astrological component to this too, because I don't care what they know, what they reject. They could be Christians, whatever they're on. If you can read that chart to them and make them say, wow, how you know that? That's true. Wait a minute. That's true. It's universal. And so what it does is it begins to help people see their power, their light, their proper place. And then they can say, wow, I don't even have to be, jealous of this or that. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. It's written for me. Nobody else have my chart. So when you can start speaking that light language to them, because that's what it is, it's the light language, you can begin to dispel these lower self entities or these lower self frequencies that they continuously vibe on. They begin to start to become aware of who they are. They get the light from you. And so that's why if you're a Moor, the Moorish science of Moorish sciences is astrology. All the religions come from this science. So once you understand this science, the language of light, you can begin to speak this to your family. You can begin to read their chart, tell them something about themselves, give them an idea of the direction that they're going, help them, give them some inspiration about what their natural talents are in the chart. They can't deny it. They're wired to understand what you're going to say about it. They're wired. So when you can bring that to them, you begin to speak that light language to them. You begin to take them out of these dark spaces, out of these dark mental frequencies that they stay on.
Yeah. And so that's why this, learning how to, read your natal chart and how to understand it is so important. Like I said, during our session, I mean, just to understand understand the houses and, what was opposite what, and seeing what you could see in my chart that I could attest to, and some things I didn't know, but I mean, even to the point that the House of Reawakening Minds is in my chart.
It's in there. Yes. House of Reawakening Minds
is in my chart. So I was telling folks, I said, well, I heard a voice say you must reawaken minds. But there it was. I had no idea that you literally, there's a placement in my chart where that is what
Uranus. You have Uranus, right? The planet of astrology. The planet of the awakening, the awakener is Uranus. Remember I was talking about how we have our upgrades on our phone? That's because your personal phone versus maybe your cousin's phone who didn't get their upgrade, your phone had its awakening. So that's Uranus technology. Your inner divine technology is the part of you that awakens. So you have Uranus in Cancer, which is the house. Cancer is our home. It rules the home. And then not only that, it's in the 8th house, which is the house of rebirth. So the house, Cancer, of reawakening minds. That's Uranus. So it's in the chart. Everything is there, you guys. Trust me. It's the flesh that makes us, the murky ethers of the flesh. That's really what it is, the lower soul that keeps us from being able to, see. But like I said, you'll get a reading and it's wired, it's wired to resonate because it's your energy. It's just energy.
Also, partnerships, would it be wise for people who are looking to go into business or partnership or even relationships with others to get, I don't know whether you do synastry or synaptic readings too, but to do get to find out who are your team members. We're developing a team. Okay, submit the information and just see where everybody's strengths and weaknesses are and decide, at least know who you're working with,
Right.
or if you even want to. I mean, would it ever be an instance where there would be so much, maybe it would be discord if certain, depending on the chart, that people would try to work together, it wouldn't work because of the aspects of their chart? Would it be, or would it be just, I know that this is how they have a tendency to be this, they might be that, and it's in their chart. It's not like they're trying to be out. They're not out to get me. That's who they are. So we're gonna understand that and take that into account. And so when they go south on something, we like, okay, we knew that could happen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think about, like you said, the construct of fear too. We have to be able to see that, these boxes, that's what they are. They're boxes. Any organization, group, any type of whatever, if the astrology isn't in it, I guarantee you they want everybody to be the alike. I guarantee you everybody got to be the exact same. And that's not
Would that be
realistic.
like Greek letter organizations and so forth, or
Yes. Yeah,
sorority?
they have the rules and these particular things you got to go by, and in reality, if it's not honoring your actual currents, we were like, it's like the cells. Your cells, they hear this particular sound, this particular frequency, and they move accordingly. So if you, yeah, they just move accordingly, and we just need to tap in with that. You got to tap in with that energy. So, yeah, I hope I answered that question, but yeah.
Well, there are some comments I've been highlighting, some of them to probably, I don't know whether you're looking in the comments, but I know I did.
I don't see the comments.
Oh, you don't see comments? It's over to, it should be over to your right if you click on comments. There should be at least a comments thing. So I don't know whether.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah. So and I was trying to. I have, the only thing with this is I have to scroll through and see what I start. Way up here, there was somebody who said they clicked on your page and they didn't. I know you said everything is it under your IG or is it somewhere else? Because folks that want to get in touch with you, I don't want to.
Oh yeah, I noticed too, my email is wrong on here. It's Moorish Astrology, no A.
Oh, okay. Let me fix that, y'all. I got that on there. So I have that wrong. Let me go back and fix that. Yeah. So maybe that is part of. So it should be MORS, right? More okay.
More astrology.
Let me see if I got it right now. Right?
That's it.
Okay. So that's the correct email. So if somebody is interested in contacting Priestess, you can. This is the correct. I had the A up there. Now, wise.royalty is your Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so if
Yep.
somebody, because we're talking about training and learning this, the school that you have, is that open to men and women or
Oh
anyone who
yes,
wants to learn? Okay, and
definitely.
I know you also have something that you do as far as psychic development and high priestess training. So that
Mm-hmm.
psychic development, is that either or men and women, and then the high priestess training just for sisters? I always
Oh, the psychic development course is the high priestess class.
okay, so that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. So
Yeah.
and that can be found by going through your IG
Yeah,
or
to
somewhere.
my IG and then click the link in the bio.
Okay. Okay. So that's how you get to that. I just wanted to make sure that folks knew that, and also I want to let them know they want to support. Here we go.
Oh,
So yeah,
gratitude.
yeah. But you know, so this part I thought was so important though, to talk about how we as a collective move through, that the houses, if you will. Um, the scripture even talks about it. In my father's house there are many mansions. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and we're not, I and so, I'm looking, there's a book up there called Mansions of the Soul. But we know those mansions are the zodiac,
House.
the signs, the houses of the zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the Bible. So that for instance is one that someone has said it over and over again and thinks it means that Jesus has made a house inside of a mansion for him and for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? A place for them to dwell. But we do find ourselves in those houses. There is truth.
Yep.
If you understand what it is that means, you
Mm-hmm.
know, then you could see it and not see it so much as some futuristic place in the sky where you're going to get away from, by and by, no more dying, no more crying. That's not what it's about. When you
Mm-hmm.
know who you are, and when you know who those who are around you, I would think that life would be so much easier,
It
to
is.
experience, because
I saw it coming. I knew it.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So that
And
that
also, not only that, you can also trace yourself back through the cycle ages. You can trace yourself back with this science, your past
are
life.
there past lives, or are we talking
Yeah.
about in our? For instance, give us a for instance.
So you can look at your south node. Where is it? What house is your south node in? Your south node is an indicator. It's a mathematical point. It's not a planet or anything, but it is a mathematical point that tells you about your past journey, like where you were in the past in this life and
Mhm.
in the past in other lives. And so when you can understand that, you do have a better idea of where you're going, which is your north node. You can better embrace the qualities of your south node placement. Look at the aspects. Look at the ruler. Let's say it's in Leo. Where's the sun? Because if your south node is in Leo, that's ruled by the sun. So you want to see where's the sun at now. That's going to give you more detail, another layer. Like you said, the wheel on top of a wheel. And then, well,
Mhm.
where's the sun at? Let's just say your sun is in Capricorn. Well, where's the Saturn at? Like it's you rulership. Following the trail of rulership can really help you unlock some major things about yourself. Past life, north, where you're going, all of it is there.
Yeah,
So
I couldn't. I remember my South Node, which was over there somewhere in the
in Cancer.
eighth house, no, Cancer, and
Mm-hmm.
we saw a connection with me between my grandmother
Mm-hmm.
and me. So my past seemed to be my grandmother.
Mm-hmm. You are her.
Yeah, and it was, I've suspected as much, but there it is in the chart.
And
You know,
Cancer is ruled by the moon, and you got the moon conjunct the North Node. Where you going? Where you're headed in this lifetime. So
Mhm.
yeah.
So it's so important, you all to know. it's there. It's not hard, and it's confirming, and it is also, I want to say, motivating. It could, like you said, you could be disappointed in what you're doing right now and find out what you ought to be doing is this, and the thing that you ought to be doing is something that you want to do anyway, which means that you will find success in that if you dispel fear.
Yeah, because you're already wired to do this job, that fulfill this cosmic contract. That's what it's about. It's a cosmic contract, and you're here to fulfill it. It's just that simple. So, yeah, like there is a construct. You have to fear. The only thing you should fear is fear, because there's certain things, like I said, these boxes. When I think of fear as a shape, I think of a box. And so it's these boxes that keeps us, oh, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to go and express my fullest potential of who I know I am as this multi-dimensional being, or what have you. I don't want to express that because of this or that, or, the ideas of our opinions, or whatever these authoritative, figures are saying or hovering over me, or what have you. You have to know the chart. When you open a box, right? When we open a box, it's going to be, okay, a box is 6 sides, right? Top and bottom, this side and this side, and then the front and the back. That's 6 sides. Well, when you open it up, when you open a box up, it's going to look like the shape of a cross. And that cross, there's 2 sides to each side of the box, which equals 12. So you become the carrier of your own cross when you understand who you are, your purpose. In fact, Saturn, the planet Saturn, has a cross at the top. Saturn is the planet of, I don't want to say, well, it is the planet of karma, but it's more so the planet of, has a lot to do with what you are here to do as well. Like the North Node, but Saturn is a little different, but it has a lot to do with what the burdens that you are here to bear, the things that you have to overcome. It may be a little difficult, but you have to carry it. And that's the cross. He carried the cross, but it's also, it frees you because it helps you understand who you are. And that can be a burden, when you're around a lot of people who don't understand, don't get that. But at the end of the day, you have to keep going. You have to keep, and that's Saturn too, that perseverance, the climb up the mountain goat, the master is Saturn. So once you continue the climb, what the climb is the unfoldment of the box, the unfoldment of fear, the unfoldment of, okay, now I know that I'm Christ consciousness. I need to see what my energy is. Because when you think about the mythology, of the Jesus story, right? They said that he was healing. I was talking about this earlier. He was healing the blind and the sick, right? How though? Was he an herbalist? He was giving them the light. He was telling them about themselves. The blind is dealing with the eye, dealing with, the eyes is ruled by Cancer too. So this is dealing with the culture, dealing with where you come from, your roots, knowing the soul. There's some sort of lack of understanding when it comes to the soul and who you are from that perspective. And so what he had to have been doing during those times, according to the story, he had to been giving them some sort of knowledge of self so that they can see who they were, right? And think about it, whatever he was doing, what was the doctrine then? It couldn't have been the Bible or maybe First Testament, but the doctrine is what they were going by, right? They were going by some sort of doctrine, and that doctrine it wasn't, in alignment with whatever he was saying. Whether we want to believe this story as real or not, look at the message for what it is. Whatever he was doing during those times, he was awakening people, letting them be able to see something that they weren't able to see. What's the metaphysics of that? So he unfolded the box, the fear, because the church or the government during that time, according to the story, they were against him. Because why? He was against their doctrine. Whatever their doctrine was, he was giving the people something that was different from the doctrine.
Right.
Well, think about what's going on today. What is the number one thing that those who go off based on doctrine only are against? Astrology.
Mm-hmm.
So he had, according to the story of helping somebody be able to see, he had to been giving them astrology, helping them see themselves. It couldn't have been some sort of, First Testament, because the people who, were behind the First Testament are the same ones who killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it hadn't been written anyway.
Oh, okay. So then whatever the doctrine was, it wasn't even the Bible. That's what you're saying?
Yes, right. So when you look at the Essenes, which he was known to have been an Essene, they were holistic healers and metaphysicians and so forth. If the real one. So, but yeah, you're right. He was going against it. It was going against the grain, whether you believe the story or not. And we are again, cycled through the same thing. Those who are awakening and going against the grain, if you will, going against what the mainstream view of what they want you to believe. And so we just see the same thing, just recycling in another. And I don't know whether it's whether we say things are not, they don't go in chronological, but maybe they're just like all on top of each other, and this is happening. Maybe this is happening at the same time, and we just think this is another time. I don't know, but that's how my brain goes off the path like that. But it's important, like I said, I think, for people, and even myself, even as old as I am, to want to learn and to get it, so that I won't misidentify people or have unfair expectations.
Yes, you already know how they coming. You know how they coming.
You already know. You're like, okay.
Well, you have an idea. You have an idea because it can be, that's also Uranus. It's the rule of astrology. It deals with unexpected change. Something can change at any point. So you can look at the chart and you can have an idea, but like they say that making room for error or something like that. There's a saying like you have to make room for error. That's the Uranus energy too. Whatever you were expecting or planning, it is bound to change. Something is going there, it could change. So that is Uranus, the planet of change.
Here's a question. Okay. How significant is Pluto right now?
Pluto is always significant. What do they mean right now?
Oh, I don't know. It's
always significant.
What is the significance?
Or
I don't know.
Pluto is retrograde. It's in Aquarius right now. That's saying that the people, Aquarius, they have to make some serious changes, some extreme changes when it comes to Pluto. This is also speaking of the collective putting their resources together. This is also because it can go both sides. Pluto is, a sexual planet. It's the planet of sex. So we're talking about a merging when we're talking about Pluto, but we're also talking about a rejection when we're talking about Pluto. Pluto rules both. It's sex, but it's also rejection or merging, intimacy, but it's also the denial or the rejection of something. And so I feel you got this split with Pluto and Aquarius where there's some who was like, oh no, I don't know about this technology stuff. Some about this is a little dark, or, it's something about this that it's something to this. And then there's some people who are going all in with it, into the depth.
A lot about AI. You're hearing a lot of going on lately. That's the talk of everybody. The taking over of the planet by AI. Wow. Yeah. So let me see what else here. Okay. I know that there were others asking if you could, in the time we have left, about, if you could just touch briefly on the various signs. I know we wanted to focus, and I think you did a very good job of doing the collective. And if you just came on and you did not see, have not seen this interview from the beginning, I highly suggest you do and that you share it, because Priestess has shared a lot about the cycle that we as a collective, and because that's what we're doing, speaking to the collective, that's where we wanted to start. We wanted to start there and give you that kind of understanding of the process going, oh yeah. So when her book comes out, hopefully there'll be something on there in the book that's going to give us that kind of guidance for, getting to that place of community by the steps. With that said, quickly, if you can, and of course you have as much time as you want. Seriously, I shouldn't even said that, but as brief as you can, so that nobody won't feel left out. Give a little overview of the signs in any way you want to, that you'd like to.
Okay.
Feel comfortable.
Let's see, for the full moon. I'll base it off of the full moon, since that is the most recent celestial event that we had. So Aries, full moon is happening in the 9th house for Aries. So this could be highlighting something where they may be realizing that they need to gain more studies. They might need to get a mentor. You might be thinking about, traveling during this time. It is really highlighting something for Aries where they need to start being more optimistic. It's shining a light on something that can help them see the brighter side of something. Maybe they weren't seeing, it as clear as they may have wanted to, or before the full moon, Gemini season. But now with it happening in the particular area of life that it is happening in, I feel like Aries is starting to gain more confidence with resources as well. Like there's going to be a lot of financial opportunity for Aries risings and suns. So yeah, be very, mindful, do your research, study, get the knowledge or the information that you need, so that, you can open yourself up. This is all about opportunities for Aries, that full moon. Opportunities for Aries are opening up. Taurus, full moon is happening in Taurus, so there's going to be a coming together. This full moon is going to highlight like a merging. There could even be something for some Tauruses where they may be realizing they need to pay off some debts. They need to, finances is going to be a big thing, or value here as well, because it's like them learning to see that they need to become a part of something. They need to become united with, others to get wherever it is that they're going. This is happening in their house of shared resources. So it's something here where the Tauruses are being called to share themselves or share their gifts with either another, or just energetically merging with something. Investing is a heavy thing here too for Taurus, that full moon for Taurus. Gemini, this full moon highlighted your relationships. You and your partner, if you have a partner, you guys could be taking things to the next level, or there could be even a potential where you guys are maybe, really breaking it off, letting some things go, finally ending the connection or the relationship. And I feel for Geminis too, this is a time for them to get tapped into their spiritual side right now. So a lot more meditation, probably even a lot more alone time, or maybe spending alone time with a partner, doing something more on the metaphysical or meditative side with a partner. For Geminis, this is highlighting their area of relationships and how we relate. As far as Cancer, this full moon for Cancer highlighted their works and how they work in groups. There's also something with Cancer that they need to take a new, fresh perspective or look at their daily habits, their daily routines, as well as their health, making some changes pertaining to their health routines, eating better, really listening to your body, making sure that your mental health is, in tune, getting enough rest as well. I wish I had a chart around me because I could really, in front of me, so I could really, add some more elements. But Leo, for Leo, this full moon is happening in your house of children, creativity. So there could be something being highlighted here where you might be really listening to your children. You may realize that your child actually has something to teach you, to show you, to give you some sort of perspective, or there's something there where you can be learning something here or growing, using your gifts, using your light, using your talents to expand, to grow in a sense. There could even be pregnancy, so be careful for that. Yeah, Leo, they're currently in the cycle of pregnancy right now. So if that's something you've been wanting, this is a great opportunity for you for that energy. If this is something you've been trying to avoid, yeah, just know that you're in that cycle, okay? Virgo, this is a time for you guys to really understand, or it's highlighting the area of home, family, the mother, the past. So there could be something here where your emotional well-being, your emotional state, you're realizing, there's something with the emotions here. You're maybe even learning to be a lot more optimistic emotionally, seeing things from a different perspective pertaining to family, or pertaining to, something that happened in the past, even in your personal life. This is highlighting the personal life for Virgo risings. So yeah, this is really highlighting home. I feel like there's some sort of home matters. Maybe you are getting some new items for your home. Maybe there's some things that needs to be fixed in the home, etc. Things of that nature. When it comes to Libra, this full moon is happening in your house of communication. So there could be a lot of long distance communication during this time. There could, this full moon is going to highlight an area where you can be really thinking about some very expansive ideas, some ideas that can really get you ahead if you really work it out and think positive. This is a time for Libras to be thinking positive right now and thinking about their plans, thinking about the movements and the things that they're ready to take on. Because for Libra, there could even be learning to see things differently as well. For Libra, there could even be, working on changing your perspective, changing your mindset. There could even be some sort of psychological counseling that you may need, realize that you need, or something just overall pertaining to just something with the psychology. But overall, the mind is really about the mind, ideas, and communication for Libras. After Libra, Scorpio, this full moon for Scorpio is happening in their financial house, their house of values and resources. There could be really big money opportunities being presented to Scorpios during this time. There could also be business partnerships that are going to be presenting them with some very lucrative financial opportunities. There could even be just some resources. Maybe somebody is going to give you something very valuable that you really need. That's going to help you advance you into your path or your journey or what have you. Sagittarius, this is actually happening in their first house. So there could be something happening with the body, some changes or something being revealed pertaining to the body, the identity. There could even be, where the Sagittarius are realizing a passion of theirs that have been there, but they probably just didn't really, know how to navigate to it or something like that. But now they're seeing that, wow, this is the direction that I should be going in. And just touching on the body. It's something with the body here. Maybe some just changes with the body. I know you're Sag rising. Right. Yeah, you getting surgery. Yeah, so that's Sag. Something with the body for Sag energy, the identity, really realizing that there's a new way that you should be going about in your relationships. Like maybe you were too focused on your partnerships or, whatever contracts or commitments that you made. You might be more the moon in Sag's first house, because it's a full moon in Sag, is showing them something about themselves. Like maybe they need to love on themselves more. Maybe they need to just be a little more selfish. It's in the house of self, first house. Just being a little more selfish, thinking about you. Maybe you haven't been putting yourself first, and this full moon just came and say, hey, don't forget about you and what you value and, what you love. And also, the health, because Jupiter, the ruler of Sag, is in Taurus, which is the health house. Taurus is the health house to Sag, where Jupiter is currently at. So health is going to be major as well for Sagittarius. Stop focusing so much on others and really focus on health and, your daily habits and things like that, and your work and your finances. Capricorn, this full moon for you is probably a very spiritual or quiet full moon. Maybe the universe had to force you to sit down, or you will be forced to sit down. Maybe you've been too focused on work, and spirit wants you to kind of like learn to be more I don't want to say passive, but just definitely relax more. Like this is a time where you can see that, it's time to be more tapped into source, whether that's just more isolation time, taking a break on work or your daily, maybe you have your own business and like, trying to take a step out of that and kind of focus a little more on your spiritual growth, your spiritual journey. Quenching yourself in that area, because I know Capricorns, they're very, business oriented and things like that. And spiritual, stuff is kind of, it could be kind of like the last thing on their mind. Depends on the chart, but for the most part, Capricorns, they are focused on the physical. Right. So this full moon is going to be a time for Capricorns to really draw off of, their creative ability. What are you creating? What good thing, what is festering in that imagination of yours that wants to come out, that wants to be born, and you're not allowing yourself to really sit and, listen. So this is a time of listening, divine listening for Capricorns. Aquarius, this full moon is happening in your house of groups and the internet and technology and making connections and networking with people. I'm an Aquarius rising, so it's actually good that I'm here. This is the full moon and I'm with a Sag rising. Dr. G is a Sag rising, and that is for me my 11th house, where I'm networking, I'm doing something online, I'm talking to the people. Right. So you're going to be doing something with, for Aquarius, you guys are doing something with the people, or maybe even friends or a friend. Maybe you and a friend are about to go far with something pertaining to maybe even resources, money. Maybe you and a friend have a business, some sort of business plan or financial idea that you guys have been thinking about, manifesting or putting out there into the cosmos. There could even be something here where you guys are changing your living situation. Something with the family is going to be coming up for Aquarius as well, like making changes with the family, or there's something about your family that's going to be highlighted here. Family and friends, okay? And seeing maybe how you can merge the two, or maybe you're looking at a friend as a family, you're really realizing that this friend is true. It's something like that there too for Aquariuses, but really thinking about your future, thinking about the future of your family, or the future of, where you came from. What change or difference can you go back and make to your community, or your family, your home, your hometown, or just your local community. And then Pisces, this full moon is occurring in your house of business, maturity, being more disciplined. Maybe this full moon, maybe you've been real laxed and chilling, and this full moon can make you realize that this is time to maybe get more active, get on your business, handle business, or get more serious about something. Maybe you've been too, closed in or in the house. This could be a time where it's saying, okay, put yourself out there, ask for that raise at your job, or, finally promote yourself, put that flyer out there, let yourself be publicly seen, let the world know what it is that you do. For Pisces right now. So yeah, career, really thinking about how you're going to be building your legacy. What are the steps that you need to be taken during this time to be building your legacy for Pisces? As well as, there could be something that you want to say, you want to communicate. Maybe your mind overall can just can be more like maturing more during this time, or maybe you're seeing things in a more like developed way, or you're needing to. Maybe, maybe you weren't at first. That's what this full moon is going to make you, see things in a more serious or committed way. Maybe you've been just kind of free floating it and doing whatever you wanted to do. Or again, maybe you were too focused on your family. And now Spirit is saying, hey, don't forget, you have a public, career and reputation and things like that you need to focus on or make some necessary changes to. But yes, that was all the signs.
Wow. And you did that in like 17.
I wish I had a chart in front of me. I would have really been able to give more detail, but that is like a general, horoscope for the signs.
Well, that is really good, and I'm urging you all who are viewing this, whether you're viewing it now or viewing it now, that you would reach out to Empriestess and get a reading. If you've never had a reading, you will, and even if you have had a reading, I love the way that you teach along with, explaining one's chart. You're actually teaching. Give an understanding about what the houses are, what's aspecting what and all that. It made sense to me. It was, and which makes sense with you as a teacher. And again, she has classes. You could just tell us can you tell us a little bit about the classes for the sisters for the psychic development and high priestess training?
Yes. It's for the men too, because I know a lot of men, they see it and be like, oh no, this isn't for me, but it's for all of us. Okay.
So it's not just for women.
No, it's not just for women.
Okay. No. That's what I thought, because it said, high priestess. So it's priestess.
Right.
High priestess.
Welcome all the high priestess and high priest.
Oh, well, see, that's even better. Please tell us a little bit about that training.
Okay, so the class is called that because my classes are based on the journey of the tarot. Okay, so the first card of the tarot, the major arcana, is the Fool card. And the Fool card is represented by Uranus. Uranus, again, is astrology. So when you begin your journey of, knowing self, you want to understand your natal chart. It says it there. When you look at the journey of the tarot, it's there. After you understand, the components of the natal chart, like, oh, my moon is here, all your planets, what element you're dominant in, what element you're lacking, you can go on to the next step, which is the Magician. Now, when it comes to the Magician card of the tarot, you guys will notice, just like our altar, people who have altars, they'll have a cup of water, right? They'll have a candle. They'll have something for the air element, like some sage or incense, feather, bell, whistle for the air element. And then they'll have like a plant or a crystal or some salt, some graveyard dirt or something like that on the altar to represent the earth element. Well, the reality is this tarot card is actually a symbolic representation of the elements that are within us. These are the subtle bodies. You have an emotional body. You have a body where your actions are stemming from, and then you have this body that thinks, the part of you that thinks. So if you guys look up the etymology of ego, ego is really just a Latin term or a Latin word for the word I. That's it. When people just drop your ego, lose your ego, get out your ego. Your ego it literally says it. Look it up. The etymology of ego is the self. Okay. And it carries on to say that which thinks, that which acts, and that which feels. So now we're talking about the actions, that's fire. Your thinking, that's air, and your feelings, that's water, which are all composed into this earth body. Okay, so when we understand these elements on the altar, these are actually representations of who we are internally. Okay, so what magic is, because my high priestess class is actually, I blended the magic class with the high priestess class. The second card after the magician is the high priestess. So I blended these two classes together, and what it is we're understanding that magic is really just accomplishing a mission and getting it done and completing it. That's magic. Okay. And when we can understand the reason why we set these particular goals and they don't get accomplished, why is that? The reason is because there's something in the elements that are not balanced. The elemental bodies within you have to be balanced. So let's just say all your planets are in Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius. All of your planets. These are all planets in fire signs, right? So that means you probably have some issues with expressing emotion because you don't really have anything in water, right? So the reason why you probably have set certain goals or certain things that you wanted to do and didn't do it is because there's something with the elements that need to be actively and consciously balanced. You have to cultivate that. You have to learn how to be, feel. And so it's kind of like that when you look at the natal chart, it tells you exactly who you are and what you have, and it tells you exactly what you don't have and what you need. So if I have all my placements, all my planets are only fire, I do need to start cultivating my air. I do need to start cultivating my earth. Somebody with a lot of fire may be starters, but they're not finishers. The energy burn out just as quick as it started. Right? We want to overcome that, because you can overcome that too. You can start to develop emotions, but the thing is you have to be able to go in and say, wow, that's why. You have to be the magician, the judge of yourself. The magician card is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the writer, Tahuti energy, right? The scribe. So when we're talking about magic, we're talking about, first of all, there's two selves. You have to understand that there's two selves. That's Mercury. You got a higher self and a lower self, right? Or you have your good qualities and your qualities you want to change, you want to make better, right? So when we can write these down, because only God can judge us, which is you, write down all your negative qualities and really take a good look at yourself and say, okay, this is some things that I need to work on. And then when we can start to put elemental, characteristics to those issues, like procrastination, for example. So a lot of people have goals and they don't get them complete because the procrastination or because they're not consistent. That's something going on or something that's not in alignment with the earth element. Because earth element is consistent, it shows up, it's present. That is the earth element. So the example that I love to give my students as a very realistic form of what magic is the person who loses weight. Let's say somebody is obese, 500 pounds, 600 pounds, and they want to become fit. That's the goal. The only reason that goal will not be fulfilled is because there's no elemental balance. So here's how. If you're 600 pounds, right, and you have this fitness goal, you have to understand that you have to have fire, meaning you have to get on the treadmill or you have to do the physical thing. You have to, bust the sweat, the heat. Let the body generate some heat, fire. That's you. Now you're tapping into your inner fire body, your subtle body of fire. When you tap into that, once you have that, then you go into your water. Your water element is this image that you have in your mind of, this fit body or this, this shape that you intend to, manifest. The water element, the imagery, the imagination of it is what fuels you to continue. Then your air element is, making sure you're working around your schedule, making sure the children are dropped off on time so that you can get, an adequate amount of time at the gym, time management and things like that. Really being able to understand and plan around your schedule and other things going on your life in your life to make sure you get to the gym or, to do the things that you have to do to get to your goal. Then you have your earth element. This is a change of diet. The foods that you're putting in your body are going to have to change, or you're going to have to start eating according to your blood type, something where you're going to have to understand the earth element as well as showing up. You got to do it every day. You got to show up. You got to make it a habit, which is your Virgo energy, which is earth. So you got to make it a habit, right? So now when you have all of those, you have the treadmill, fire, you keeping that vision alive. No matter what, you're keeping the feeling is being the secret. I mean, the secret for you, the fuel for you is that feeling, that emotion, that vision that you see. That's water. And then the earth, this is your planning, making sure, you spending 30 minutes on this machine, 20 minutes on that machine for for your routine. That's your air element. And then your earth element is, like I said, the food and the consistency. When you are operating in all four elements, because you are the altar, right? When you're operating in all four of those elements, then the guy, the obese man, he can't help but lose the weight. It's going to happen, whether he like it or not. It's going to happen, and so that's where it becomes, that's magic. Magic is he made it happen. The transformation occurred. He did the steps in between and he made it happen. He understood his elemental bodies, whether he had a planet in fire or not. He got on that treadmill every day, whether he had a planet in, earth or not. He changed his diet. He did what he had to do. He started eating according to the vision that he had. And the process materialized. The vision materialized. That's magic. Not, writing something on a paper, and because you are the altar. Now, writing, petitions and all that type of stuff and the jars and all that type of stuff, that's sorcery. That's not magic. Taking rabbits out of a hat, that's not magic. That's legerdemain. Something we know as legerdemain, called legerdemain. The Vegas acts, the stage acts, that everybody think is magic. That's called legerdemain. Magic is when you understand the elements within you and how they have to be balanced in order to complete the goal. If you set out a goal, an idea, and it didn't happen, it's because some element was off. And that's what the High Priestess class is about. We are going into we're performing soul surgery, and we're getting into how to correct the soul, how to implement more earth if that's what we need, how to implement more fire if that's what we need. And then there's practices as well. I do little competitions and little fun stuff for them, that they can do. But yeah, guided meditations, we really work with all elements. There's theory, which is air. There's working on the body, working on the actual body, like Qigong and things like that we do. That could be fire and earth. There's water practices, things that we have to do, like I give them some homework, things that they have to do in the shower, working with the water element, breathing exercises, air element, things of that nature. So it's really just understanding the subtle bodies. Where is your actions coming from? It's coming from a part of you, a part of a subtle body, your fire body. Where's your thinking coming from? It's coming from the realm of air, your air body. Well, where is your feelings coming from? This is coming from your water body. And when we can understand that, it's in the chart. Aries, it starts at Aries. Aries is fire. Taurus is earth. Gemini is air. Cancer is water. And then it starts over again. Leo is fire. Virgo is earth, and so on. So it's in the chart too. And so that's pretty much what the High Priestess class is about. People love it. I love teaching it. it has some amazing results from everybody. I even have return students. I'm like, why y'all in here again? But yeah, I love that class. A lot of people love that class as well. So yeah, that's the high priestess
So do
work.
you have certain times of the year when you begin the classes? I mean, are they like so many weeks and then you
Yeah,
start?
they're based on quarters. So all my classes are based on 12 weeks. Well, the high priestess is 13, but my astrology classes are 12 weeks. So every 3 months it starts a new quarter.
Okay, and your first, are you starting at spring as your first quarter? Is that where you start, or do you start in the beginning of
Yeah, we just started for high priestess. We're actually in week 3 now.
Mhm.
So yeah, it probably would be best to just wait till the next round. Um, or unless, I do have recordings, but it probably would be best to wait to the beginning. We're already at week 3 right now.
Right. Well, listen, this has been a wonderful session, and I am
Yeah.
so, like I said, I'm so happy. I wish more had tuned in, but they'll look at the replay. That's the beauty part of it, and I'm sure that others that were here are going to look at it again, because you have to in order to get that. Particularly, again, the portion of the section where you talked about each sign and each step that must occur, before we can. And I love that, that those celebrities, they don't have, they have Taurus, but they don't have themselves. They don't have Aries. You look at people now, you go like, they don't have Aries. And I'm like, what are you talking
Taurus
about?
with no Aries,
Taurus,
that's no good. Taurus
right.
and no Aries.
Right. So if you don't know yourself, you may have all the so-called money fiat that you have, but if you don't know yourself, you don't even know how you're supposed to work with it or what you're
You don't
supposed to
even know
do.
what belongs to you. If you don't have
Right.
yourself,
Right.
you don't know
Right.
what's
So
yours.
that is, but I'm appreciative to you all too, that have stuck with us for this whole session, and
Oh yes.
comments have been respectful and decent. I always love that, for the
Mhm.
most part. And as I did not lie when I probably underwhelmed you with how much she has to bear, but your professionalism and your knowledge, and you're being able to just talk off the top of your head about these various signs. You're like, if I had the charts, well, if you had the chart, you probably would still, be going
Mhm.
for on the second sign or something. But I appreciate you. I somebody had put in the chat something how they normally don't um get what, anyway, but they said they appreciated you and what you were giving. I think it was MW. You are. I saw your
Mhm.
comment. But and that speaks volumes, when a lot of times people are suspect of people, but when they can feel your values, when they can feel your truth, which is the thing that I felt when I heard you, and I was like, I have got to get her to come. And then you were as excited to come as I was to
I
invite you. This
was.
will not be your last time. This will not be your last time, especially sis stars. This will be your their last time hearing. From
Right. Honestly, I had a whole slideshow. I had a whole slideshow for
so
today. But,
we had to figure it out. We'll
next time, next time.
I'm gonna try to get her to do some classes on the network that she can do it, and so folks can. We just have to figure out how to do all of the logistics of it. But it's an opportune time for folks to get. We need to get it. When you get it, then we've got the foundational tools for success.
Mm.
You know, because I'm just saying, brain clear out so that you can learn this stuff. But
Mhm.
again, this is my last show before my next show,
Yep.
which will be after my surgery. And so as I've told others, tomorrow's the last day to get things done before Thursday, and so I'm trying to get a lot of things done. And I'm so glad that I was able to have you on, um, for the show, and looking forward to coming back on like in a couple of weeks and having again. Um, I'll be talking to you. I'm
Mhm.
sure I'll be speaking with you, and
Yeah.
looking forward to doing some things with you. I mean, you're just a a wealth of knowledge and information, and I appreciate you for coming on the show. I'm trying to look.
Definitely. I would love to come back and give you guys the whole presentation I was going to give, but it happened exactly the way it was supposed to.
Right.
So,
Well, I'm gonna put this question out here because this brother I really appreciate him. He is. Let me just show you his. He has a class. I'm not sure.
I saw that. I saw
Yeah.
that.
So yeah. I was trying to think because I know you're not in Vietnam now, but I know he's somewhere overseas. Dr. Yasapa, thank you so much. But that's the question he was asking. Um, he was asking how he can use that to complement and improve teaching astrotheology.
Mm-hmm. Well, astrotheology, look for the signs of 12, in the religious books and whatnot. Like the 12 disciples,
Mm-hmm.
these are the signs, and you got to figure, once you figure out which one is which, then you can better understand the story too and how to place that according to the wheel.
Okay,
but so you do need to know some astrology knowledge too to be able to line it up with the like Judah.
Do they actually give the names of all 12? Sometimes they don't. You have some that stand out. I'm just trying to think.
Yeah, they do. I did
a
post about it before. The only one I can really remember right now is Judah, the lion. The lion is Judah. That's Leo. Tribe of Gad is Aries.
Oh, so you're going by the tribes?
Well,
not the disciples.
Okay, not the disciples. Yes, the tribes and the disciples. Do both.
Anything that has 12
and the disciples.
Anything that has 12 in it.
Yeah, it's the correspondence. The 12 is the correspondence to the wheel. Mm-hmm. And the 13th is always you.
Did you hear that, y'all? The 13th tribe.
It's you. It's the self. Just like you have the pineal gland. The pineal gland is fed by 12 cranial nerves.
Okay.
So you got the 12 cranial nerves, and then the pineal is the 13th, which is you. So.
Well, listen, this has been absolutely, as I said, a wonderful session. I've learned even more. I want to make sure that before we go, though, that we usually do a fourth Friday in person if they're getting better with Grand Chic and myself. But during this month, it will actually be having the class on the fifth Friday. So anybody who was considering or is considering coming for the fourth Friday this time, it's going to be on the fifth Friday, June 30th. Friday, June 30th, from 7 to 9:30. We look forward. Hopefully, I'll be on my feet by then, and I will be there. But it's going to be the fifth Friday. The fourth Friday, we're actually having we have an annual jazz concert here in Delaware called the Clifford Brown Jazz Concert. I believe it's like year 30 something, and they have all kinds of. It's always free. I mean, we've seen everybody from major jazz stars to R&B, Drew Hill, everybody, Eric Bennett. This year is Kim on the fourth Friday, so we're not going to have a class. It's like a 3-day concert, but Kim is on that Friday, so I know Grand Chic wanted to go. And so on the fifth Friday.
So you guys don't live stream the civics class?
We don't live stream that fifth Friday one. We have it's like.
You gotta be there. Gotta be there
with that. And that's more. We'll probably figure out who can actually record it for us. But
I would love to go to one of Taj's classes.
Yeah,
especially in person.
Yeah. So you gotta, you're already on the other side, but you can get you from San Bernard.
One of these Fridays.
At least in Delaware will, one of these Fridays you'll get there. Or maybe one of our, 3-day sessions. We have one coming up in July. That's the other thing, y'all. I wanted to remind you that, coming up July 28th through the 30th, and you want to get your tickets by the 30th of June because you'll save 30 notes. So
So I need to go to that. I need to be there.
I would love to look. I'd love to have you here presenting, but we'll talk about it. Yeah, but that's July 28th through the 30th, and so we are looking forward. If you go to the website, House of Reawakening Minds, I believe there are links there where you can get your tickets or get more information about that and so forth. And last but not least, I don't say enough about it, but I am I'm promoting my product. Y'all gotta people wonder about my hair, which I'm gonna have to get done tomorrow. This is why my hair, I believe, is growing like it is. So Dr. G's hair cares and skin too. Get yourself some. It's
Didn't I say for what was it? Pisces. They need to promote themselves.
That's right.
I said something like that.
I'm
right.
I am promoting myself. And
Pisces is also rules oil too.
Oh, see, yep. See, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, y'all. So
even when you didn't know.
That is that. So, and we appreciate it. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, Sister Faria L, and every last one of you who have said something kind here. We love you and we appreciate this. Yes, this has been an awesome broadcast, and we're going to have our sister back. I'm looking forward to you coming and presenting to the sisters in the war, and so we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Oh yeah,
I'm excited about that. So as we activate, we're going to use the same model. We're going to use that same model that you've given. So Pisces, please support my herb store. Denise Jeremiah, fitandblessed.com. There she's got an herb store. I guess she's saying she's a Pisces. And
right.
I'm thinking, listen, Denise, we have herbs too growing. And look, I told you we got herbs growing all in the back of the House of Reawakening Minds that we didn't plant, medicinal herbs. So I'm excited about that. And
the weeds are medicinal herbs too.
Well, that's what
weeds.
Well, that's what I thought they were, but I know better because my sister and I just put out a book on herbs, which I haven't been. That's the other thing. We have an herbal book that needs to be promoted, and Cynthia, I need to slap my hands. But yeah, support the sisters herbal store, fitandblessed.com, and anything that's for the people, anything that's gonna help us. We gonna go. Letting go. New level, all right. We'll keep on talking talking. But I'm gonna let you all go. I appreciate every last one of you. I have to go to bed on time because I have to get up early in the morning to finish the few things that I have to do. So I appreciate you and taking time and just giving us this astrological truth.
Gratitude. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. And please, the fact that you said, even though you were on that larger platform, you were looking forward to speaking to more.
I would love to speak to Moors anytime because, we had Aries. Now we can, we can carry, we can move forward. If you don't have me at Aries, I probably will sound crazy. What? We're not black. And, so it's like, we got the Aries, so we kind of,
we flow, right? You don't have to explain yourself. Listen, no, we're not. No,
yeah.
You want to keep on, hold on to that, but no, we're not. And then that becomes a whole nother thing. But yeah, we got Aries.
Yep, we got Aries.
We got Aries. We know self. All right, we getting out of here, y'all.
All right, peace and love, everybody.
Peace and absolute love and joy and everything else that comes with knowing yourself. And I'm sure a lot of folks are going to reach out to you and get a reading, and they really should. All right. Love you.
Peace. Love you too.
Peace. Dr. G. Dr. G. Really? Who's she? Yeah, that's me. 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 Dr. G.